have no idea where this will lead us, but I have a definite feeling it will be a place both wonderful and strange.
Hello, I'm JD.
I'm Garon.
Welcome back to Investigating Twin Peaks. Directed by Caleb Deschanel. He's married to Mary Jo, who plays Donna's mother in the wheelchair in the series. And they are the parents of Zooey Deschanel. Indeed. And this episode was written by Harley Peyton. Peyton wrote an earlier episode that introduced, or not introduced, but featured the best dialogue from Albert, going kind of toe-to-toe with Truman. I think he's an excellent writer. A lot of iconic moments in this. I think, like the blood on the donuts, that's a shot when you see Twin Peaks, that will often be there. Donna's little cherry stem trick at One-Eyed Jack's is much buzzed about. That scene where Coop says, "Harry, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Once a day, just treat yourself to one present."
One present. Just Christmas.
I also loved Audrey smoking in the closet when they're at the perfume and spying. You know, she's just having a cigarette. Impossible that they wouldn't smell the cigarette.
See the smell.
But she's such a little, I don't know. I feel like she can kind of do no wrong.
Yeah.
She's not, you know that she's in no danger. She's not going to get caught right there. And I also like that he brought back the Bookhouse Boys. There's something really charming about the idea of them and seeing them kind of in action. This episode was really fun.
Yeah.
When Coop and Harry and Big Ed with his mustache and terrible wig go to One-Eyed Jack's at the end.
When he brings it up saying, well, we can't go. That isn't our jurisdiction, but the Bookhouse Boys. They can do that. And it's like, oh yeah.
The Bookhouse Boys. Was there anything in this episode that you wanted to talk about? As far as the whole episode before we get into specific scenes?
Whole episode. It was a different episode as far as momentum, I feel like, goes. It was having it know that it's kind of coming to an end, but not. And then having it almost
nearing the season finale.
Nearing the season finale, and as far as like, I feel like the stakes are getting up more and more towards like, okay, there's something like, I didn't feel like her smoking was, I don't think she was gonna get caught, but like everything else, it was almost like, okay, what's happening now? What's this? And each moment was more heightened, I guess. Yeah,
it felt like all of the various plot lines, whether they up until this point had to do with Cooper or not, are converging to a place. And I feel like when Cooper gets involved, there's a weight to it that is exciting. Like Harry approaching Cooper about Josie and the sawmill and all that conspiracy that's going on. Cooper immediately asks Harry, what do you know about Josie? And he says, well, what do you mean? I know that I'm in love with her and she's in danger. And Coop just, he's on Harry's side completely. He's just, all right, that's all I need to know. Let's go with that. Even though he's a bit less trusting at first. He's asking the correct questions. And we know from behind the scenes that things that Harry doesn't know. We know potentially that Josie shouldn't be trusted. And Cooper, it's like, oh no, don't give that up so quick. Just because you're so trusting of his intuition. Yeah, and also it is converging because even though you knew Audrey wasn't going to get caught in the closet, by the end of this episode, they're at One-Eyed Jack's. She's at One-Eyed Jack's. Now her dad is going to One-Eyed Jack's. No, and that's where it's like, okay, you're playing with fire. Fire. So it's like,
yeah, it's all coming together.
Right.
So it's, everybody's come to this one spot now, I think is where we're all getting to.
Yeah. Yeah, and they want to do something with the mill within the next 24 hours. I actually really liked the scene with Catherine and the gentleman that was getting her to sign
Yeah, no, that was...
her life insurance policy that said $1 million that would go to Josie. And he hadn't met her yet, and he thought it was weird that, like, why haven't I met this person? She's too busy. And the dialogue between her and this gentleman, I thought, was really sharp, and that scene worked very well in a way that scenes that don't involve Cooper, I was much more interested this episode throughout the entire episode than I had been in maybe the previous two with episodes or scenes that didn't involve Cooper or the investigation.
Yeah.
The whole episode seemed to unify in a way, or just held my attention throughout. I liked it a lot. The humor was landing very well at all points in the episode, and here you have this bird that's a witness, and it's such a silly, absurd idea, and you're kind of chuckling about it, and then the bird gets shot and murdered by Leo.
Damn bird.
But when Coop picks up that tape recorder and he's listening to the bird with Laura's voice, and she's saying, "You're hurting me. Don't go there. Leo, stop. Leo, stop." The whole premise and setup of that scene is absolutely outrageous. But you kind of forget that, and you are disturbed, like, oh my God, what were they doing to Laura?
The witness, our number one witness right now, as far as who could possibly let us know on something, is a bird who we're hoping luckily repeats things and says, so like it coming back on all that, you're like, well, let's just hope this bird says something. Let's record this and see what happens, and then having it being enough for Leo to go and shoot this bird, like, well, this bird's about to be, and to see, and which takes me to the fact that Leo has a cop in his car, has a radio. Cop radio in his car.
Cop monitor. Yeah. It's interesting because we've been given a couple pieces of information that conflict with certain things. When they were at the cabin in the last episode, they found that little bit of blood.
Yeah.
And they know that the blood on Leo's shirt was Jock's.
Yeah.
Remember, they found that out.
Yeah.
We don't know who the blood in the cabin was yet. But we do know, and we've been given this sketch of that filthy guy that was at the corner of Laura's bed.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to connect all the pieces at the moment. We know that Coop thinks it was Renette and Laura and Leo and Jock at the cabin, that those four people were there.
Yeah.
But we know that Ronette had sexual relations. No. Was it Ronette? No, that Laura had sexual relations with at least 3 people the night before.
That night before, yeah.
So we can kind of suspect that Jock and Leo, but who's this third? Maybe Bobby?
Yeah.
Maybe James? Because she was with both of them the night before. Maybe a third person.
What's his name?
Who?
The old man. No,
The doctor?
No, not the doctor. I don't know. I just threw that out there. The one who told him to take them in the bus to go to take them to One-Eyed Jack's.
Oh, Ben Horn.
Ben Horn.
Audrey's dad?
Audrey's dad.
Wow.
Shit gets real. If that's in the mix.
That's dark.
Yeah, that's dark. Yeah, things happen. Things happen. But these are things. That's why. It's a mix. There's 3.
Right.
There's 3. We know 2. We don't know about the 1.
Well, going back to the beginning of the episode before we talk further into the episode starts with a very vulnerable Audrey naked in Cooper's bed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And how do you feel with what we were talking about last episode? How do you feel about the resolution of that scene, how that was handled?
It's funny actually because it happened how we kind of talked about it. As far as how we felt, how it's like you're fighting. He even flat out says what we said. Like, look, it's what I want and what I need and what I am allowed to have, and I'm a FBI, but so then he takes it and it's like, okay, we'll talk. Mm-hmm. You need a friend. You need someone to talk to, which is he takes the high road.
He takes the high road.
Hopefully,
I think,
unless we don't know things.
No.
Yeah.
They finished. You know that they finished with the conversation. He's probably talked quite late into the evening with her.
Yeah. The night was young.
And it matches Cooper's character completely. Yeah. Even to the point where he said, what I want and what I need are two very different things. That actually clashes with Cooper's character a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's very revealing that he says that to her. And she knows exactly, from her reaction, she knows exactly what he means.
Yeah.
That he would like to stay and
yeah, she's like
be with her.
Yeah.
But I think that is just revealing that he's as smitten as Audrey is with Cooper.
Yeah.
He's got a crush on her too,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
He certainly has feelings and he respects her. And the way that she presents herself and acts with such confidence to him.
Yeah.
Outside of this one scene, she's completely
There
vulnerable
I am.
right away.
Yeah.
He sees her as a very confident young woman, very well put together. And then, it's very jarring for him, I'm sure, to just, here's this broken young lady in my bed. What the hell am I going to do about it? But I thought the scene was handled very well. And the lighting and mood, both actors looked really lovely. Mm-hmm. It was a very beautiful and elegant scene.
Yeah, I'm glad it started where it ended.
Yeah.
Because they could have easily still went back to that scene, mm-hmm. but they could have, but not starting exactly, almost like.
Yeah, it was very much like, okay, now here we go,
yeah.
we're going to resolve this. Whereas I think that might be the first time this series has ended with a cliffhanger that picks up right there in the next episode. Considering this episode was not written or directed by either of the co-creators, might be my favorite of the first season that doesn't have
either one's
presence.
So Lucy got a phone call right as her and Andy were having their awkward number 50s awkward conversation.
Their relationship.
Yeah, their relationship.
We don't know how far their relationship has gone in the past, but it certainly hasn't been going well the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, and so it's cute. It has its, the reality in it. And then you have that moment of she gets a phone call where she's like, I'm very busy. No, you're not. Oh, thank God the phone rang. And then it seemed like it wasn't a good phone call.
Yeah, any thoughts on what it could be?
Maybe the blood report came back. Maybe
blood report. Oh, for the you think it's got to do with the investigation and not to do with something personal for her?
Well, it's the thing is, who is her family in this? Do we know who her family is?
No. Her sister shows up in season 2.
But there you go. Can't wait.
No, we didn't need her sister to show up, I'll say that.
Oh, right. That's awesome. I don't have any thoughts on it. I kind of was wanting more, but I don't.
I think that's a good example of, we were talking in the last episode about it's important to take a breath and enjoy the town of Twin Peaks and not just focus on Cooper's investigation. And I think the scene with Catherine, the scene with Lucy that you talk about that, it's nice that those things are pulling us in and intriguing us, and they are outside of the investigation. Because that, moving forward, there's a lot more of that and a lot less of, or at least there's a balance. There's always a balance.
Yeah.
And there's, if you look at it, more or less every episode, there's maybe 15 minutes on average to do with the investigation, and then another
and like
35 minutes to do with
pointing that
the
out
rest of Twin Peaks.
Shows
it's important.
It's not that thinking about it. Anytime it's been something to do with the investigation, especially for her standpoint, she hasn't really had any like emotion.
Who's she?
Phone call.
Oh, Lucy.
Lucy. Bad with names. There isn't, she hasn't had any real emotions towards any like stuff that has come up as far as like showing that.
Like
so,
Andy breaking down.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
So like this phone call was the first time you kind of see her like. That's why it's like it does take you back and think of.
She was one thing I actually thought was really cute was when they find Waldo dead.
Oh yeah.
She's like crying and she's very disturbed that poor Waldo is gone.
She's like, oh Waldo,
Waldo.
oh Waldo. And hearing her voice on the tape recorder.
Unlike when in the pilot Donna is sneaking out past curfew and there's an innocence and wonder to that. In this episode, when Donna, James, and Maddie, and she's got the wig of Laura, when they're doing this stuff and they record Maddie looking like Laura and deliver this tape to Dr. Jacoby to get him out of his office. It feels like they've gone too far. It feels like dangerous.
Yeah.
And then you see Bobby following them, and one of the most effective scenes or moments in this episode, I think, is you see Bobby watching them, and then it cuts, and the music shifts from the typical Twin Peaks kind of investigative jazz music to just this like screeching disturbance of this other person watching Bobby and watching them.
Even
and
the cameraing is even
it's
more.
like Bobby, you're just like, somebody needs to smack Bobby around. But to that, you're just, oh, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
And it gives me goosebumps. It's like, oh, this is too far. What the hell are you guys doing? You're playing with fire.
Yeah. It changes your, again, it heightens it. It's another way this episode heightens things, and it gets you to, and each moment you're like, okay, this is happening. All right, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Oh, he's following him. Okay, cool. And then he puts what's he put in the bike?
Oh, Ziploc of cocaine.
Which makes sense. And so, and then, and he says, goodbye, James.
Yeah.
And he, but then knowing that it's that cool experience of us as the audience, we know something he doesn't know, and he knows something they don't know in that moment in time.
There's different layers of danger, and we're enjoying and laughing throughout this episode, but we're reminded very effectively and very, I feel like, precisely and deliberately that the stakes, don't forget that the stakes are really high.
Yeah,
this is about, we know that people have been sexually assaulted, murdered, beaten, these are real stakes.
Yeah.
And it effectively reminds us at the right moments throughout this episode.
It reminds us, and it also, if you constantly are thinking about it, which I keep having to go back to, and kind of we talked about last episode, but remembering these guys are in high school. Like, imagine being in high school and trying to you're sneaking around, you're doing you're doing, depending on what you did when you were in high school, sex, drugs, rock and roll, and murder. There's something all entwined, and all these people trying to solve this mystery.
Right.
Or they think they know.
It's so outside of their realm of relatability that I don't think they're giving it the weight. They're kind of reacting to it like it is a news headline or something. But it's like, no, you're putting yourself in danger and possibly people you really care about in danger.
Yeah.
And the wardrobe and stuff, we haven't really talked about it that much. The show is dated. One of the great things with the show returning, and it's 25 years later, it is kind of a period piece for the early 90s. And that works because this is going to be present day, 25 years later.
Yeah.
And obviously these actors they've cast are not in high school. They must be in their early 20s.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to do a little research and see how old they actually are. But the clothes that they have them wearing, I feel like, especially when they're around the gazebo and it pulls back and shows that guy watching them, with Donna with her little baseball cap, and like they do look like kids.
No, yeah.
And they seem really
from a
vulnerable.
pullback
It's like,
shot,
oh, damn it, you know. Yeah. And Bobby's there, and you kind of want to see Bobby and James go at it, even though Bobby could probably take James just because of their history.
Yeah.
When it pulls back and you don't see who's watching them, it does make them seem extremely small and vulnerable.
Yeah. So when Hank, at the end kind of there, is seen at
the end. Oh, he's seen at Josie's.
Yeah, Josie's.
Mm-hmm. We know there was some type of connection there because he
past.
sent her the envelope with the domino sketched into it and called her from prison.
Yeah.
And now seems like this thing with the mill has come to a head, and Hank is somehow involved with that.
Yeah. Still not sure exactly how to feel about it, and like he seems sleazy from everything, trying to figure out everything and trying to play the cover up, play the good guy that has changed
to his wife.
To his wife. Yeah. And then but now, he beat up Leo.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that last episode. Hank really smacks Leo around.
Yeah.
And Leo up until this point has been, as far as the people we've been introduced to and his reputation, somebody not to be messed with. And then Hank shows up and takes him out and just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really effective way of making Hank seem very dangerous. I don't think, unfortunately, the casting of the person that they got for Hank doesn't quite fit that. He doesn't seem very dangerous to me at all. But at least for the character, that was clearly the intention there. And then, he bugs me. He's supposed to bug you. The actor does a good job. But when he's questioning Shelley and being all casual about it, like, I really want to thank you.
Yeah.
You were great.
And trying to get her.
But he was trying to, like, that guy,
I'm so bad with names. Which,
yeah,
it was very believable. The way he did it, I was like, oh, wow, that's exactly what you would do. And that's oh, wow. Because it got me off guard.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, that's what you were doing.
Yeah, Big Ed.
Yeah. Big Ed. So yeah, I don't know exactly. There's still a lot to go on with him and not knowing about his situation and all of it. But again, it goes back to, I'm not even saying it has anything to do with Laura's murder, but it goes back to other problems going on in Twin Peaks,
And it's nice that you
bad blood,
do have that
old blood,
question and
blood,
you're curious about it at least,
Because there's other things that are going on. Like, you want to think it's all connected. It might be, but you also know that not everything's always connected, but there's also great stories and great situations in everything, especially in small towns. So you have that feature of, like, regardless of what comes out, you still have this, like, the mill and what's going on there could have nothing to do with Laura, and it'd be okay because you're realizing, oh, so that's what's going on. I care about this enough to know that, I want to know what's happening. Who's getting screwed out of this?
Yeah.
Who is actually getting screwed out of this? Oh, it has nothing to do with the murder, and that was something totally different. Well, still, I want to get to the bottom of this and know who's getting played and who's not getting played.
Yeah, and I think it's great. It all goes back. Lynch and Frost have said many times that they never wanted to answer who killed Laura Palmer. Their intention was to leave that mystery unsolved. And it was just going to be this catalyst to this town, your way in, and then hopefully all the other mysteries would come up and they would resolve these all as things went on. But the death of Laura was just supposed to be the kind of MacGuffin of the series, that it would just be kind of there in the background and never be solved. As, you know, many murders are never solved.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see that. Again, this is only, there's the pilot, and then this is 6 episodes. So this is the 7th episode that we've watched. And it does feel, wow, they could go on for years. There is a secret and a mystery to every person in this town. And it feels like every character has a story to tell.
Yeah.
It might be varying degrees of
separation.
interest, you know, and stuff like that. You might not be interested in this one to that one, but James talks about his mom in this episode.
Yeah.
And she's a drunk, and she goes and hooks up with other people, and he says to Donna, I don't want to have any secrets, and I'm telling you this because I think the secrets are what pull people apart, and I don't want to have any secrets between us. And compared to what's going on in the town, that might not seem a big deal, but it causes him to just like walk away, and he's having a very difficult time talking about it. And that's
his
very
story.
true.
That's
you know?
his, yeah.
He can, you know, go and start running at Bobby at a funeral and want to just, okay, I don't care if the cops are here or not, I'm going to fight this guy right now.
Yeah.
His girlfriend, the love of his life, just was murdered.
Yeah.
And he can't talk about his drunk mom.
Yeah.
And that seems outrageous to some people, but it's very honest.
Yeah. No,
it's very true.
It really makes it grounds him even more and giving his motives or how he reacts to certain things kind of more of a grounding to it as well, because you see that background.
Yeah.
And you see like
it rings absolutely true with every single thing that you know about his character.
Yeah.
He seems, boy, do I never know people like that. So I think we're an episode away. It's the season finale that comes up next, and I think we've got some excellent setup for that. We've got the mill fire all coming to a head.
Yep.
We've got Audrey's investigations have led her to One-Eye Jack's, and she may be in over her head as her dad is about to show up there. That might be kind of awkward.
Is she gonna walk into the room for
Cooper's right there as well with Big Ed doing the Bookhouse Boys stuff, and it's just goosebumps. Maddie is left alone at the gazebo with this unknown party.
Yeah.
And Donna and James are about to break into Dr. Jacoby's thing. Like there's a lot of stuff going
on in this final episode.
And I am looking forward to it.
Thanks for joining us. Hope you join us next time on Investigating Twin Peaks.
I'm JD.
And I'm Garon. Sweet dreams.